I talked about video games on backstage, and a lot of people reacted. And I've always wanted to write an article called "My Life in Video Games," but I've just never gotten around to it. So I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it all week. See if you're interested in the story, because video games mark my life and they mean something to me in terms of being a storyteller and how I tell stories and how I've written novels, which is kind of an old-fashioned form of storytelling, but one that I still think is a really profound and deep one. I've always loved games. I grew up as a little kid. I just loved games and puzzles. And I've noticed now, what I've really come to feel, that when I do puzzles, my mind goes into the same place it goes when I write prose, which is a very peaceful, very focused state. And I think there must be something in my brain that just reacts to that. And you know how men will know when you're a little boy, before you discover girls, you have all these kind of weird things that occupy your mind. So you'll have conversations with other boys about whether the earth is really a speck of dust on a policeman's shoulder. And then you discover girls and you think, who cares? What difference does it make as long as there are girls? One of the things I used to think about before I discovered girls was, wouldn't it be cool if you had a board game that you could control yourself? And I would invent this thing in my mind that the soldiers, instead of moving the soldiers with your hand, they would move automatically, you would move electronically and all this stuff. I go to college in the 70s, and one day I'm walking into a dorm with a bunch of my pals, and I look over and there's Pong. And truly, I've said this before, but it is truly like the moment in 2001 when the apes see the Earth Stone, and it's like, bam, 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 bam. Like I thought, there it is. There's that thing that I was always dreaming about inventing. It's a game that plays itself. And it was Pong, it was just this thing going bink, 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 bink. But to me, it was magic. I just thought it was the most incredible thing ever. I played it and played it and played it till finally I got bored of it. It got too repetitive. And then I forgot about it. I had work to do. I had to start a career. It was a tough time in my life, went forward. A few years later, I'm out of college and I'm a newspaperman. And as a newspaperman, one of the things we used to do is we would go over and play pinball. And somewhere there exists there was a pinball in the diner around. It's called the Court Diner because it was right next to the courthouse. And there was a Court Diner. Me, Adam Nagurney, now a big New York Times guy, and other reporters, we go over and play pinball, and we talk about the politics of the county we were covering and what was going on, the news of the day. There was a big pinball contest where you won a gigantic pink stuffed dog. I won the dog, Nagurney. I swear, the worst grace in the world. Nagurney would say, well, that's because I had to cover stories down in White Plains. I wasn't there enough. I won that dog. Somewhere there's a picture of me, like I was a complete mess because as a reporter, I was working like 80 hours a day. And it's me with a cigarette and the pink dog that I won playing pinball. One day, I went into the restaurant across from the court, and they brought in Space Invaders, which was unlike anything I had ever seen. So I understood, Pong has moved up a step. And I don't know if you remember Space Invaders, just the armies of marching aliens, and you press the button and you shoot them, and you move the gun back and forth, and you press the button. I played this game so much, it was like rolls of quarters. I get rolls of quarters at the bank, and they would go down, if you can picture the roll of quarter getting shorter in slow motion. That's how much I played that game. One day, I wake up, and there's a lump on my wrist. And I thought I was dying. I thought, oh my God, I've got a lump in my thing. I've got to go to the doctor. And I go to the doctor, and the doctor looks at me and he says, have you been making any repeated pressing motions? And I said, yeah, I've been playing this stupid game, Space Invaders. That's how much I was addicted to it. I went home that weekend and we picked up the Sunday paper, and there was a little story saying Space Invaders wrist. It was a phenomenon. So I was one of the first people to ever get Space Invaders. At that point, video games fascinated me the way games fascinated me. And it wasn't till later when they started to fascinate me as a means of telling stories. And I'll talk more about that tomorrow when I will be back. I'm Andrew Klavan. This is The Andrew Klavan Show.